dusty streets of Abilene baked under the afternoon sun, where wagons rattled and men spat tobacco on wooden planks. Sheriff's office sat empty as justice often did. That's when Jacob Harlan, a weathered rancher known for his solitude, stepped out of the general store. His eyes fell on a sight that stopped him cold. Near the saloon, a young woman lay in the dirt, her face swollen and bruised, dress torn. Townsfolk passed without care, muttering that she had asked for it. Jacob's jaw tightened. He wasn't a man to interfere, until now. The woman struggled to rise, but a drunken gambler shoved her down again, laughing cruelly. "A whore don't belong in church nor in decent company," he spat. Jacob strode forward, boots striking hard against the planks. With one swift punch, the gambler fell into the mud, teeth clattering loose. The crowd gasped, but no one stopped him. Jacob bent, offering the bruised woman his hand. His voice was low, steady. "You're coming with me." She hesitated, eyes full of distrust and pain, but something in his tone, an unshakable promise, made her take his hand. Jacob led her to his wagon hitched outside town. He lifted her gently, covering her with his worn coat. "Name?" he asked. She whispered hoarsely, "Anna." Her voice cracked like brittle wood. He clucked the reins, guiding the horses westward, away from curious eyes. The silence between them was heavy, broken only by the wheels creaking. Finally, Anna said, "You shouldn't have done that. They'll come after you." Jacob kept his gaze on the trail. "Let them come. Ain't right what they did." His words carried the weight of a man who'd lost too much already. They rode until the town was a speck in the distance, then camped by a creek. Jacob built a fire, handed her bread and jerky. Anna ate like she hadn't seen food in days. When she lifted her eyes, he noticed their color. Green, sharp despite the bruises. "Why were they after you?" he asked. She shivered, pulling his coat tighter. "I said no." Jacob didn't push for details. He'd seen enough men twist power into cruelty. Instead, he stoked the fire higher, as if flame itself could ward off the ghosts chasing her. By dawn, they reached Jacob's ranch. The land stretched wide, golden grass rolling into the horizon, cattle grazing under an open sky. His cabin stood sturdy but lonely like its owner. "It ain't much," he said gruffly, helping her down. To Anna, it was paradise compared to the streets of Abilene. Inside, she marveled at shelves lined with books, a rifle above the hearth, and quilts folded neatly. Jacob busied himself boiling coffee. She touched the wooden table, whispering, "When was the last time someone sat here with you?" He didn't answer. Silence spoke enough. Days passed. Anna healed slowly, though her bruises lingered. She insisted on helping, sweeping, cooking, even mending Jacob's shirts. He protested, but she only smiled faintly. "I won't be a burden," she said. At night, Jacob would sit on the porch, pipe smoke curling into the stars, while Anna hummed old hymns inside. He realized her voice softened the silence that had weighed heavy for years, but shadows still haunted her eyes. One evening he asked, "You got family?" She shook her head. "Not anymore." Her words carried a sorrow deeper than wounds on her skin. Trouble returned quicker than Jacob expected. One afternoon, riders approached his ranch. 3 men from Abilene, guns at their sides. Anna froze when she saw them. "It's them," she whispered. Jacob's grip tightened on his rifle. The leader sneered, "We came for the girl. She's ours." Jacob stepped forward, blocking the cabin door. "She ain't yours. Not now, not ever." His voice was steel. Tension snapped, bullets flying. Jacob's rifle cracked, sending one man tumbling. Anna ducked behind the doorframe, praying. When the smoke cleared, only 2 horses galloped away, leaving blood in the dust. Jacob bore a graze across his shoulder, but brushed it off. Anna, trembling, pressed cloth to his wound. "They'll be back," she whispered. He met her eyes, calm despite the pain. "Then we'll be ready." That night, as the fire roared, Anna confessed through tears. "They tried to force me into their saloon. Said if I didn't please them, I'd starve. I fought. That's why they beat me." Jacob's jaw hardened, but he only said, "Not here. You're safe." For the first time in years, Anna felt the truth in someone's words. Weeks turned into months. Together they worked the ranch. Anna learned to milk cows, mend fences, and even shoot a rifle under Jacob's patient guidance. Her laughter began to return, timid but real. One evening, as storm clouds gathered, she placed bread on the table and looked at him. "Why me, Jacob? You could have walked away." He stared into his coffee, then met her gaze. "Because no one should be left in the dirt." "And because He hesitated, voice rough. Because I've been alone too long. Silence lingered, but warmth bloomed between them. When spring came, the prairie bloomed with wildflowers. Anna wore a simple blue dress, her bruises long faded. Together, she and Jacob rode into Abilene. Whispers followed them, but none dared confront the rancher with steel in his eyes and a woman standing tall beside him. They visited the preacher, and days later, vows were spoken in the small cabin chapel. No crowd, no grandeur, just truth. Jacob Harlan, once a lonely mountain of a man, found his match in a woman beaten by cruelty but unbroken in spirit. Together they built a future stronger than fear. She was broken, beaten, and left in the dirt while the whole town just walked by. But then, a lonely rancher, a man who had lived in silence for years, stepped forward and said the words that would change everything. "You're coming with me." Not as property, not as a burden, but as a soul he vowed to protect. In the Wild West of 1800s America, where law was thin and cruelty thick, two broken lives found strength together, standing tall against the darkness that once tried to bury them. In the frontier towns of the 1800s, justice didn't always come from the sheriff. It came from men willing to stand against the crowd. When Jacob, a solitary rancher, saw a woman beaten and humiliated before all of Abilene, he knew he could no longer remain silent. "You're coming with me," he said, offering her a new life beyond the cruelty of town streets. What began as an act of defiance soon became a story of love, resilience, and the fierce will to survive on the edge of the Wild West. She had no family, no safety, no one to hear her cries, until a rancher did. Beaten for saying no to men who saw her as nothing, Anna thought her fate was sealed in the dust of Abilene. But Jacob, a man haunted by his own loneliness, refused to let her fall into ruin. His words were a promise firm as stone. "You're coming with me." Together, they faced enemies, built trust, and proved that even in the harshest corners of the 1800s Wild West, compassion could spark a fire that no bullet could kill. She was left bruised, broken, and forgotten on the dusty streets of Abilene. Men laughed. The sheriff stayed silent, and the world turned its back. But then boots hit the ground, steady, unshaken. A rancher known for keeping to himself stepped out of the shadows. He didn't ask questions, didn't wait for permission. His eyes held steel, his voice carried a promise. "You're coming with me." Not as property, but as a woman worth saving. In the heart of the Wild West, a single act of courage turned pain into hope and loneliness into love. The frontier was cruel, and so were the men who thought they ruled it. She defied them once, and they made her pay in blood and bruises. But destiny wasn't done with her. A rancher, hardened by years of silence, found her in the dirt. He didn't see weakness. He saw a spirit worth fighting for. His words cut through the crowd like a bullet. "You're coming with me." That was the beginning, not of escape, but of a battle, a home, and a love story born under the endless skies of the Wild West.